Trevor Kokenge, you heard me right, turned his side hustle into a full-blown business. How he did it, you're about to find out.
Yes, I've grown Planet Vision into a full-time business making $29,000 a month.
Today we'll find out how Trevor was able to build Planet Vision from a side hustle into a thriving landscaping business. We'll find out how he found his first customer, how he stands out from his competitors, and what he's doing today to scale even further.
When I started, I was broke. 4-day work week is great. A lot of people like that. This year, I've been able to get my work scheduled out a couple months.
What would this cost? What is this, and what can you do with it?
I've been raising my rates a lot the last few years, and I'm in the process of doing it again right now. My lowest month this year was February at $16,000.
Big thanks to ClickLease for sponsoring this video. Let's take this off, but as I'm doing that, tell us a little bit about your background and why you ended up starting a landscaping company.
Yeah, so I went to college, got a degree in landscape architecture, and graduated into the recession and was having trouble finding full-time work as a landscape designer, so started doing this on the side as well as a few other things, but this eventually became my full-time thing.
So you never had prior landscaping experience in any way?
Not really, just working at home with the parents in the yard, but I did have the skills and a lot of knowledge from college, but a lot of it was learned on the job.
Trevor, what kind of services do you offer as a company?
Yeah, so we're like what I call full service maintenance, doing mowing, string trim, the edges, weeding, raking the leaves, blowing, just keeping the place nice. But we also dabble in a lot of everything as far as construction, installation. So plant design, installation, a lot of mulch jobs, one-time cleanup jobs at people's houses.
Pretty much everything. I mean, but for somebody starting out, what would you recommend? That they focus on 10, 20 services, or just one or two that really will get the ball rolling for them?
Yeah, well, in my experience, I tried to do a little of everything just to keep the income coming in. I think landscape maintenance services are great just for that recurring income and steadiness. So anything with that routine type of maintenance I think is good. And cleanup jobs are easy to come by, so
that's true.
It's a great place to start, but installation work is kind of a different animal. So.
Right, yeah, because you have to probably have more heavy equipment and just
more equipment
more people
and construction knowledge, how to do things properly.
Right. We're gonna continue on and not hold you from work, and I'm gonna help pull some weeds.
Yeah, we got a lot of weeds around here.
This is the nitty and gritty, the reality of being a landscaper, right? How many employees do you have right now?
So I've got two, actually technically one. I just lost my crew leader last week, so I should have a new replacement though on Monday, so we'll have 2 guys.
So you plus 2 other guys?
Yeah.
How do you retain people and find good talent in your experience so far?
So, I mean, I use Indeed to hire people. There's a lot of candidates online, and to attract them, you know, you got to be competitive with the wages. I don't offer all the same benefits as some of like the big companies, but money talks with a lot of the people that are applying in this industry, so.
Especially now too.
Yeah, so that and just providing a good culture here. We're kind of laid back, but we're still very professional, and I want my guys to do great work and, you know, be respectful of everyone they come across, so.
Yeah.
4-day work week is great. A lot of people like that, and then they can get off for 3 days, so we do 4 hours, 10 hours a day.
Nice. So when you started Planet Vision, can you talk to us what it costs to get going? Because a lot of our viewers, they're getting started, they want to get into the same industry. Tell us how we could manage the startup costs.
Yeah, so when I started, I was broke. I probably put just a few $100s into some used tools, a used mower, and just scrounged together rakes and shovels, that sort of thing. Really didn't cost me a lot of money to get going, but as you build, you know, the expenses grow.
So what did it cost? I mean, if you spent, is it $300 to get going? Like,
yeah, I don't know for sure, but I would imagine just like $300.
Wow, just the basic tools.
Just basic tools and a used mower.
Wow.
Like $50 for a mower.
In terms of designing landscaping stuff, and I won't stop you from working, how does that work, Trevor? Is it an app you use, software, a piece of paper?
Well,
how long does it take?
There's a lot of variations in how to approach landscape design.
Right.
In my situation, I'm looking for small jobs that we can do in a day or two for most of the year because we have all this routine maintenance. So a design for me is often just a sketch on a piece of paper, after I've measured the site and drafted it on some grid paper, usually I'll lay over a piece of paper over that to trace and just kind of come up with ideas, send a simple sketch.
So we're not talking like CAD design, computer, and it's like weeks of preparation.
I do that as well. I try to save those jobs for the winter when we have more time to install them, and that can take more time for me to design when I have time to get to it, working on AutoCAD to develop a whole base plan of the yard. And then I'll usually print that out and again trace over it to kind of come up with conceptual ideas and eventually form a nice planting plan. And I'll typically do the final plans by hand and color them with marker and stuff.
Revenue, what was it for 21? Because that was a challenging year post-COVID, or really in the middle of it.
Yeah, well, landscaping,
roughly.
luckily, you know, we get to operate outside. So we did 200,000 last year.
You did, okay.
And it's going up this year.
So the 29,000 that we mentioned in the beginning, that's certainly way different this time. That wasn't the case last year.
Not the case last year. I've been raising my rates a lot the last few years, and I'm in the process of doing it again right now.
A yard like this definitely needs the right equipment. We're excited to share with you how ClickLease can help new and established landscaping business owners get all the necessary equipment that they need to elevate their business.
Simply submit the details on the equipment you need, ranging anywhere from $500 all the way up to $20,000, and their AI-driven system will process your request within 10 seconds. No hard credit check will be pulled.
ClickLease will work with you to help you find the best lease term and monthly payment plan. Once you secure that monthly payment, it doesn't change for the duration of the term. Click the link in the description below to learn about how ClickLease can help elevate and grow your business with ease.
What percentage of your business comes from designing?
It's pretty small, so I would say 75% of our work is like routine maintenance and cleanup jobs, and the rest is kind of a mix of design and install work or repairs or things just like adding mulch to people's beds. So really it might be more down to like 15% or something for installation.
Are there any red flags you look for, Trevor, before taking or committing to a particular job?
Yeah, and it kind of varies with where you're at in business. For me right now, we won't take any more maintenance customers unless it's in a prime location like a neighbor or somewhere near one of our routes. This year I've been able to get my work scheduled out a couple months, so it doesn't make sense to be getting cleanup jobs because people want it done now. At that point I'll start to look for installation work that will fit in that 1 or 2 day window where we can get it done and then move on to maintenance again next week.
Gotcha. So you don't want to take something then have it impact the rest of the other commitments you've made?
Exactly.
How did you find those first jobs, Trevor? Like, nobody knows you as a landscaper. Let's talk about the importance of doing the right thing in the beginning.
So those first jobs actually came from a friend who had a contracting business. Him and his dad, they were painters, doing a lady's house, and she said she needed a landscaper. They called me up and I came over, got the job, and then soon after that I was mowing the lawn for the neighbors, and that turned into more jobs nearby. So that was instrumental, kind of word of mouth. And after that, once I found thumbtack.com, that really gave me the belief I could start getting a lot of jobs and build a real business.
Tell me about Thumbtack. I don't know much about it.
So Thumbtack is a website, and it's kind of like the Uber for contractors.
I see.
People fill out what they want online and all kinds of different services. And
it's like Angie's List or something.
So I built a profile and booked my first job within 5 or 10 minutes.
Wow. Does it cost anything?
It does cost money. It's a lot more expensive for the leads these days, but you know, my average leads are somewhere between like $10 to $50 a lead.
What's a good month dollar-wise? What's a bad month?
So my best month so far was last month at 29,000. My lowest month this year was February at 16,000.
Not bad. How much are you spending on advertising, if any?
Probably about $200 a month just to pay for, some ads in the church bulletins, and you know, that's kind of prepaid for. I've done a little Facebook and Google in the past, but honestly, I can't keep up with the work that's coming at me, so I just turned it off.
That's not, well, it's good. It's kind of like one of those faucets. You need more business, you turn it on. You don't need it, you turn it off.
Yeah.
Email list, do you have any where you just gather all the emails and blast them every month?
No, I don't do that. I've done a little bit of that in the past. You know, it's really easy to service my existing clients. I've got, their emails ready to go. I got about 40 recurring maintenance clients. I know their emails, they're in Google. I could be keeping them in QuickBooks with old customers, but it's not something that I've prioritized. But I can dig into the files and bring them up.
Okay, keeping it simple. You guys, if you're enjoying this, we appreciate a quick like. Thank you so much. What do you think customers mainly want from a landscaping company or a landscaping person? Like, I guess that ties into customer experience and so on. What have you learned over the last couple of years?
Well, they want you to do a good job and be able to manage the landscape without them having to provide a lot of input. People have busy lives, so they want you to know what you're doing and just make the place look good. Another thing that helps is providing like customer service, like a nice back end thing, like invoices. I use QuickBooks to send them an invoice and they can pay right there online. So that's nice.
Do you do credit cards on the spot as well?
I take credit cards, bank transfer, yeah. Not on the spot, but I'll email it to them, so they'll get the invoice in their email.
Gotcha, okay. Talk tools. I've seen many tools. We interviewed a couple other landscaping companies. They vary a little bit. What would this cost? What is this and what can you do with it?
So this is the steel combi motor. It can be used with different attachments. So this here is your hedge trimmer. Pull it in, pop it out.
This looks pretty easy.
You can also put on a string trimmer head. Lots of different things you can put on here. Chainsaw for a long pull.
Oh, wow, okay.
Power broom. So this one is the most powerful motor in the steel combi line. It's very versatile. That's why we like it.
What would it cost? If I were to
the
go
cost of this is like $350, and then the attachments are around like $150.
So you can have like what, 6 different varieties of using the same motor, or even more?
Just one motor and lots of different attachments to go for it. I would recommend this. Steel's a good brand. Don't waste your time with
cheap stuff,
the junky stuff. But that's what I did. So you got to start where you can.
Right. Start where you can. That's well said. What else do you want to point out in the truck?
So we saw the leaf blower down there on the ground. I started using the steel lawnmower.
Are you using?
This is it's an electric lawnmower, and one of the benefits of it is it's lightweight. So it's good in Seattle. We got a lot of hills, and we have to carry it up and down stairs. So that's the main reason I really like it.
Does it have like propulsion?
This one is self-propelled, yeah.
Okay.
So that makes it pretty nice.
Is it a challenge sometimes? Because when you show up to people's homes and stuff, you may not always have an outlet. How do you work around that?
So I've got like 4 or 5 batteries that we charge up overnight, and then I can bring the charger with me if we need to go to someone's house. There's usually an outlet there, but not everywhere. But you just stay on top of it and just kind of manage it, and it works out.
Have enough batteries set up?
Yeah, we do a lot of small lawns. If you're doing big lawns, you're probably not going to want this.
Right. How much would this cost, Trevor?
I believe this is around maybe $500.
$500-600. Okay. What makes Planet Vision stand out from other competitors similar in size to your company?
What makes us stand out, I think, is just being able to provide a lot of different services when it comes to garden maintenance, doing full service mowing, trimming, pruning. We specialize, and care about proper pruning of plants. That's a thing that a lot of companies don't have knowledge of. So
they just come out and chop your tree down. I've seen that before.
A lot of times people don't even know what they don't know, and you just see mistakes around town. And then I think my landscape architecture degree does give me another edge where I can go out and I can sketch things, draw pretty pictures, and know a lot about the plants, and I can do good design work. So.
We'll fly through Blitz with Trevor. All right. What motivates you, Trevor?
What motivates me is I just want to do good work, keep the clients happy, and keep my employees happy.
Okay. How do you stay organized?
Google Calendar. That helps scheduling everything.
Nice. Scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you, Trevor?
My employees would probably rate me at a 5, but I'd say maybe like an 8.
Ouch, okay. Who's your biggest inspiration?
Gotta say Jesus. He's the inspiration for service and leadership and how to treat people nice.
There you go. What place would you want to travel to right now if you could just take off anywhere?
Ooh, let's go heli skiing in Alaska, or maybe it's South America this time of year.
Dang, top notch. Yeah, what key things do you think a landscaping company, whether small or big, need to have to continue growing revenue? What does it come down to?
To continue growing the revenue, learn how to charge properly. That's been what's been best for me. I started out not charging enough, so we're able to keep raising the rates. And one way to be able to do that is to book your calendar out in advance, so you're not desperate for work. And then you can start
Cutting yourself costs.
start raising your rate. Yeah, if you have that work booked and keeping your expenses low.
By the way, you guys, if you want more insights into growing a landscaping company, check out our podcast, upflip.com/podcast. Episode 5, we interviewed the owner of Legends Lawn Care. It's awesome. For starting out, what would be some tools that I would absolutely need to have to do my first job in terms of landscaping and cleaning?
Yeah, you're gonna need a mower. I highly recommend a backpack blower. I didn't have one at the beginning, but I think it's definitely something you're gonna want. String trimmer, and then just an assortment of rakes and shovels, different things, pruners, loppers, shears, depending on the type of landscaping you're doing. We're a full service and we don't focus on just mowing or anything. We're a full service gardening.
Okay. What are we doing here? Trimming a little bit?
So yeah, it's time to prune the rhododendrons right after they flower. That keeps the size down smaller so they don't get too big, and allows the flower buds to set over the summer. You don't want to cut them off because you want to have flowers next year.
Good.
So this is the best time to do it.
Do you look for anything specific? I've always wondered about, trimming trees and instead of killing it, actually giving it more health. So it looks like you're just chomping at the bit here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to prune here. With this, it's just flowered. So these types of rhododendrons, they'll basically resprout anywhere you cut it. There's a lot of latent buds that will regrow, and it's that prime time of year where they do most of their growth. So every plant's a little different, but
that's the deal with
part of what makes Planet Vision good is understanding what to do with the plants. So.
Trevor, let's say you wanted to double your revenue, as soon as possible. What would you think needs to change or be added in the business to make that happen?
Yeah.
From 30 grand a month to 60 grand a month.
Great question. So I've been trying to get my business into 2 different divisions, one maintenance, one construction. Basically I need to double my labor. So 4 employees I think could do it. And just getting that maintenance kind of out of my hands so I can focus on hiring good people for the construction.
That probably has good profit margins on the construction, the bigger projects.
Yeah, it does. There is another theory, though, just focusing on what you're good at, that simple maintenance stuff, it could be an easier way to scale the business. So it's something to consider.
Right. If you were to give an advice to somebody starting out, very little money, no customers, what would you recommend they do to get going and find customers? Knocking on doors, calling?
Yeah, I did a little knocking on doors. You can expect like a 1 or 2%. You go to 100 houses, you might get 1 or 2.
Not the best return.
Get out there, yeah. I would encourage, check out bark.com. It's similar to Thumbtack. It's a little cheaper, kind of like what Thumbtack used to be. And then, talking to just people friends, family, neighbors. I advertise here with this church, and that's been generating some leads for me.
When you first got started, I know you mentioned earlier how you found your first customers. Is there anything else that people watching right now can do as entry-level landscapers to find new customers? I mean, what's worked for you besides your close sphere, for example?
Get yourself a Google business page where people can just start finding you and have that direct to your website. Put up a contact form on your website where they can enter in their address, phone number, all that sort of thing, and what they want to do. Having that contact form has really made it a lot easier for people to just type it in. I think you lose them if you don't have that.
Right, so they can easily reach out to you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would think, man, to start a landscaping company, I have to rent a big warehouse and stuff. Let's talk about briefly space that you need to, quote unquote, have a landscaping company. Do you need a lot? Do you lease anything, or you do everything out of the bed of this truck?
I do lease a garage right now. When I first got started, though, I was hauling up all the tools to my apartment balcony.
Oh, wow.
That didn't last long. I negotiated with my landlord to use this old shed on the property. It's about 12 by 12 space, used to be a coffee stand. So I operated out of that for years until this spring we moved into this garage.
But you can get started with not necessarily no garage.
You can get started with very little, yeah.
I mean, it's
a little bit of space, I wouldn't recommend leaving it in the truck unless you got somewhere safe to put the truck.
I just realized that you can't leave this stuff overnight.
Right.
Especially in Seattle. What kind of profit margins do you shoot for, Trevor? Where are they, would you say? Just on average. I know different services.
Yeah, so far our maintenance has been at like 18%, but I'm in the process of raising the rates, and that should bump it up another 10% to around 28.
Not bad.
And for installation work, I'm usually shooting for like 33, 35. Sometimes we hit it, sometimes we don't.
Right. What are the busiest months? What are the slowest?
So for maintenance, you know, it really kicks off in March, and every 2 weeks we're going to most people's houses from March through November. Then December it kind of slows down, but there's usually a lot of work getting through Christmas and New Year's. And then January, February can be kind of slow, so I like to have bigger jobs waiting to be installed and that sort of thing.
Okay, that was my follow-up question is like, what do you do when it's super slow
Yeah.
for the 75% of your business? So how do you adjust and shift so that you don't sit on the couch doing nothing?
So yeah, it's trying to get big landscape design and install work. If the snow hits and we can't do anything, we take care of this campus, you know, shoveling snow off the sidewalks, spreading salt. Winter's a good time to market for like tree pruning work because you can see what you're doing. Or just upselling your current clients on things like mulch. You know, you can put on a sale for mulch or something, get it out of the way before the spring rush. So that's the type of stuff we've been doing.
You want to get off the truck, quote unquote, right, at some point. How many employees do you think you need to make that happen at some point?
Yeah, I would like to eventually have the business at that point. I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking like 4 employees working for me would be the minimum for me to get out of the truck and work on growing the business and doing more quotes and design.
Where did the 4-day work week come from? Because that's what you mentioned a little earlier.
Yeah.
Why do you do that? I think it's pretty cool to get a 3-day weekend.
I used to do that at a previous job, and I liked having that 3-day weekend, so I just wanted to provide that for other people because I think people like the time off. That, and I needed another extra day in the week to be able to do the office work, you know, outside of being in the field. Since I'm doing so much in the beginning, I think that helps me to get things done.
I think that's pretty cool. Having a degree in landscaping architecture, right? How has that helped you move and grow and scale the company to this day?
It's a selling point, I think, for some customers who want to know that I kind of know what I'm talking about. I know a lot about plants, and I have the skills to be able to do some design enhancements in their yard. Having the degree, it's not really necessary. You can get started without it, but for me, it's been a helpful thing and gives me some potential to grow the business in different ways.
What would you say percentage-wise you had to learn on the job versus what the degree has provided you with? 10-90?
You know, I would.
That's my guess.
I learned a lot of it in school. I don't know the percentage. I would say it's kind of a low percentage as far as garden maintenance goes. Getting out here and working in the field has really been what's given me a lot of more in-depth knowledge about taking care of plants and soils and that sort of thing.
That's awesome. Can you think of any mistakes that you've made early on and how that taught you a lesson? I mean, what can you think of that you would do differently with what you know now?
Yeah, I was just not charging enough money for a long time because I was ignorant of business financials. I didn't know what a profit margin was. I was just getting out there trying to survive and
thinking you're making money?
Thinking I was making money, and yeah, just having no idea what I was doing. So yeah, you're in the right place. I think if you're watching this video, get educated and understand the numbers.
Right, and not be afraid to ask for the right value for the service you offer, right?
Yeah, believe in yourself, ask for what you need.
What are you struggling with right now as a business owner? Like COVID, labor, we hear all that. Everyone we interview, biggest thing is like finding good people. But besides that, any other challenges you're facing?
The labor issue is a big one, and then just managing my own time. I work probably 55 to 60 hours a week on average, and that's just the daily stuff that you got to get through. So just being able to push and get the time to do the extra things that help you to grow your business and push it forward and make progress, it takes a lot of determination. I think charging appropriately so you have the capital to do things and invest in what is needed for growth is good.
Yeah. What was your biggest challenge when you got started?
Besides customers, the biggest challenge was just being broke, not having a lot of money to invest in things. And I was working a lot of part-time jobs on the side, multiple part-time jobs delivering pizza at night. So just having the toughness to keep going and getting after it.
Not quitting. What helped you get through all those, Trevor, those times?
You know, honestly, I think I had a good mindset that was developed through the Amway business. And there's a lot of like self-development, personal development, and just positive thinking habits that come from that. And just a real desire to want to have a stable income and have a little bit of freedom in my life.
What's one piece of advice you can give those watching right now who want to start a landscaping business, whether small or large? What would you tell them?
I would say get connected with other business owners that are in your field. They've got a lot of knowledge. They've been through a lot of the same things. They know your troubles, so you can share, get ideas, and they can refer you work. They've done that for me. And even online, there's groups you can join, that sort of thing. So
don't be afraid to ask the experts for the advice, right?
Yep.
Those who have done it before you. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I know you got a ton of work to do, and we'll not shake. We'll shake. We'll do this because you're holding that big bucket. This was fun. Well, that's a wrap with Trevor Kokenge. I love the last name. The owner of Planet Vision. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Take a second to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you don't miss any of our videos. And we've interviewed others in the same industry. Make sure you check out those videos as well. Thank you.